The German officer buried the Jews in the ground so that only one head stuck out. Then he grabbed a wooden stick and smashed it down hard onto the prisoner's skull. When he grew tired of beating, the officer pulled out a photo of his son and cruelly demanded to know why the Jew had sold bread for 500,000 marks. Foolishly, the Jew sneered that it wasn't the bread that was too expensive, but that the officer's son couldn't afford it, a remark that instantly provoked the officer's fury. The officer then mounted his horse and began trampling the Jews underfoot. Soon, they were all brutally crushed to death, and this was only the beginning of the killings. To punish and eradicate them, the Germans spared no expense in building the so-called death factory, Auschwitz. Its gas chambers and crematoria ran around the clock, processing more than 10,000 Jews a day to meet Auschwitz's monthly quotas. Faced with such a massive workload, the Germans made a cold calculation. The physically strong were kept to work, while the weak and sick were sent in to shower. At Auschwitz, prisoners received only one meager meal a day while being forced to work 18 hours. Under such brutal labor, many Jews simply exhausted themselves to death. Mike was responsible for recording the death toll. One day, while tallying with his comrades, he discovered that this month's deaths had surged to a new high, 50,000 more than the previous month, which meant 2 Jews were dying every minute. Determined to prevent the annihilation of his people and to make the world feel their suffering, Mike and his companion hatched a plan and secretly hid beneath a wooden plank. The companion then produced some prepared animal blood and carefully smeared it to mask their scent. The two hid underneath, planning to slip out under cover of night. Although their plan seemed foolproof, an unexpected check occurred at roll call that night. The German officer discovered 2 prisoners were missing. Enraged, the officer called for a Jewish overseer and beat him to death on the spot. To force the escapees out, the officer ordered everyone to wait together. Only when the fugitives returned would the prisoners be allowed to go warm up. Despite shivering in the cold, none of the prisoners stepped forward to betray the missing men. At the same time, some prisoners produced stolen bread and shared it with their fellows, all of which the officer watched closely. But instead of stopping them, he waited with the prisoners until the next morning. When the man who had stolen the bread still gloated, the officer could no longer restrain himself. He grabbed the man by the collar and dragged him into the barracks. Because those prisoners had shared the bread, the officer repeatedly restrained himself and did not kill them then. Outside, however, the rule was brutal. Unless someone revealed the whereabouts of the 2 escapees, the rest would be forced to stand frozen in punishment until they all died.